S is for Pacific. When you are specific with your goals, you are reducing the risk of control, confusion. Next one. M is for measurable. Being measurable with your goals and intentions help you keep a paper trail of your progress, so you do not have to under or overestimate your current status of your goals. A is for achievable or attainable. To have or to create an achievable goal is the rhythm of being realistic to and for yourself. The worst thing that you can do when you want to grow is to be delusional and unrealistic with yourself. Next one. R is for relevance. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to explain it to you anyway. You cannot achieve your weight goal if your goal is too busy trying to build a fundraiser for your nonprofit organization. Make sure that you separate your goals from intrapersonal and intrapersonal. Intrapersonal means that you are having a discussion with 2 or more people. Intrapersonal means that you are having a discussion with you and yourself. Next slide. Time bounded is for T. Lastly, it is important that you continue the rhythm pattern of time bounding your goals. When you do that, you are respecting the values of the complex concept of time, especially your time. Now, in conclusion, once you create a pattern and build that rhythm of displaying SMART goals, your goals will become the melody. Your dream will soon become that song that you'll be singing in your head out loud for the world to see and hear. So, that's why I say to put a little rhythm in your goals so you too can sing out loud. Thank you.
If anybody has any questions, Deshaun, maybe you can stay up there for a short while.
I will.
And anybody has any questions that they would like to ask about that presentation, now would be the time. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
When you like for SMART goals for me, like how I can become a better makeup artist. And
you do makeup?
I do.
I love makeup.
We have the both same in common. I try to stay what I want to do too. I try to take a lot of hours getting done though. So how do I get my makeup done the right way ahead of time? Do I plan out the looks or do by step-by-step instructions?
You just answered your own question, Nick. I thought you had a question for me. Yes, you have to plan ahead. That's the whole purpose of SMART goals. So when you plan ahead, you will already know what you're getting yourself into. If you don't plan ahead and you just start off with, you're going to be confused. Which that is the first letter of SMART goals. Specific, I don't know how to say that word, but particular basically. It's to be particular with what you are doing. So when it's time to do it, you won't have any controlled confusion. What is controlled confusion? It's confusion that you can control. Alright? Yes, you TJ.
I wonder how to become a better man, like in a job.
You want to know how to become a better employee, basically?
A better man, like
a better
me.
man?
Yes.
Okay.
Better person.
Well, you
better
have.
person.
Well, that's kind of broad. A better person. That's kind of broad. So, what? First of all, like what was that one? R, relevance. Okay. Like I said, it's important to separate your intrapersonal and your intrapersonal goals. Okay.
Okay.
So with that being said, you have to dig deep inside yourself and figure out what are you lacking in so you can become better in those areas that you are lacking in. Those areas that you are very strong in, keep that up. Use those strengths to strengthen up your weaknesses. That makes sense?
It makes sense.
All right. Any more questions?
Microphone to get everything on the correct volume. Our next speaker presenting for you is going to be Celestine Davis from the partner sponsor Down East afterwards. But Celestine will be speaking on rhythms, breaking free of limiting beliefs. Celestine.
about the rhythm of life, because we're talking about how to get rid of those voices that kind of deter us from reaching our goals. And so the rhythm of life is a way in which we affect our needs, our deepest desires, and our unique talents. How do we do that? How do we put them together in a way that's going to be beneficial to us? How do we know what those things are? One question I want to ask you guys, are you still auditioning? Are you still auditioning for things that you already know how to do? Are you asked to keep proving yourself over and over again? And how does that make you feel? You know, because a lot of times we find ourselves in that predicament because we're out of rhythm with ourselves. A lot of times we have all these voices inside us that tell us where we're supposed to be in life, right? We have like our id and we have our super ego, then we have our ego in the middle. And our id is telling, oh, I want to do it now. I want to do this. I want to do it now. Our super ego is telling, no, you got to wait. You're not prepared, you know. And so you have these two things going at each other. And your ego, which is your steady person, is saying, oh, I can't hear so much noise. And so you get imbalanced. Okay, so that's one of the things we do. We already know things and we keep putting ourselves in a second place, third place, or not even put ourselves in the game at all because we feel that we're not worthy, we're not prepared, we're not all these whole regional area and also on the level of the whole United States. And people always keep telling him he's too young, but yet he's doing these things, right? And so he could have said, well, they say I'm too young, so I'm going to stop. This is not the normal pattern. You know, because we're told when you're young, you're supposed to do this. When you're older, you're supposed to do that. And when you get even older, you're supposed to do another step. And sometimes our rhythm is not in line with what the world tells us we should be doing. And so should you deny your own rhythm or follow the crowd? And that's something that gets us in a lot of problems whatsoever. You would notice that people who really achieve something in life are following their own rhythm. They're not listening to all the naysayers, either the ones that's within us or the without us. And we have real reasons why we have these blocks to our success. And another person I want to talk about, which is a dear friend of mine, she come from a big family whose parents died really early, so she found herself taking care of her sisters and brothers. And so by the time she got ready to go to college, she was what we call a non-traditional student. And so she wrote this wonderful paper, and the teacher, you know, said, oh, this is a great paper, but these goals are too lofty for you. A teacher actually said, this is a true story. Every story I'm telling you is a true story. Just like the young man always getting rebuffed by older people saying, you're too young for this, this person was told, your goals are too lofty for you. So she said, oh, okay, all right. So she went ahead, she got that 2-year degree, she got that 4-year degree, she got her advanced degree, she became a principal, she became an author of a book that's being used in the school system right now and in other areas with young people. So, but suppose she decided, well, you know, I'm too old, and these goals are too lofty for me because, you know, I'm not following someone else's pattern for my life. Don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in what someone else says you should be doing or not doing. Another person that I know, and remember all these are real people. She was an elderly lady. She had grandkids, she had great-grandkids. She was 81 years old. She had this book in her. She had written it out for the most part. She just needed some help putting it together. And her family said, oh, you're too old, you know, just be satisfied. You're accomplished enough. But she had this burning desire. You're too old, don't bother. She didn't give up. She got that book published and also published 6 more books. Okay? So suppose she just listened to those outer voices, and I'm sure she had some doubt too in her inner voice. But she said, no, I'm going to follow my own rhythm. Don't let anyone stop your show. You don't have to keep auditioning for those things that you already know is for you to do. Okay? Do those things. So find your own rhythm. You know, rhythm serves as a catalyst, it's a framework. It is the heartbeat of creativity. So by recognizing the patterns and breaking them, we can find our own unique voice. And that's very important for any person that's creative on any level. So there's one thing I want to talk about, because I always tell my students, I teach about 100, 125 students per semester, and I always tell them, use your authentic voice. What you have to say is important. Whether you're writing it on the page or presenting it in class. So I'm going to use my authentic voice. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I come from a family of poor people. Surprise, surprise, in Eastern North Carolina, right? My father, before I was born, was a tenant farmer. I knew nothing about that life, but that was the history of my family. My mother worked in a shirt factory. Some of my siblings also. Some did mechanical work. But as we got older, as we could do better, we did better, right? And so we could have just stayed there, right? We could just stay, okay, this is where we are, this is where our neighbors are. It's how you just live and grow old and stay in the same place. As we moved on, my mother bought a house. As we moved on, we all got education. So did we forget where we came from? No, absolutely not. We are proud of where we come from. I'm just telling you this not because I feel like I should be ashamed. I'm proud of the fact that I'm here today. I started out as a person who was always interested in the arts. Even as a poor child, I always was in the arts, supported the arts. It was handing out flyers. I was really one of the founding members of the Black Artists Guild in Kinston. And I've always led myself to that way. And so, but I still wasn't quite meeting my goals. I really wasn't living my dream. Eventually, I had an opportunity to go study fashion design in California. So I did that because I was doing it already. So I wanted to, have evidence I could do it by having a degree in it. And so what that did for me, it put me in a realm of people who are in the creative field. Not only I moved from the fashion design, but because of some other interruptions in my life, I ended up in the television industry. And so from that experience, I could say, well, I'm kind of going backwards here, It's like, I should have did that earlier. But no, you have to go with the flow. You have to go with the rhythm of your own life. And so in doing that, I gained skills and knowledge, got to hobnob with people who were very expert in their field, and I was able to bring that knowledge back with me when I came back to North Carolina. Since I came back from North Carolina, a little chocolate girl, living in the projects. I didn't live in the big projects, but I lived in little projects, living on a dirt road when I was a child. This is where I came from. I just ended my tenure as president of the North Carolina Portrait Society. I was the first Black president of North Carolina Portrait Society, and they have been around since 1932. Okay? And before that, I was a VP. So I spent at least 4 years on the board of this predominantly white organization. Now there is some other Black people on it, but I was the only person who raised to the level of president. And not because I'm so great, it's because I didn't anybody tell me I couldn't, So you have to follow your own rhythm. And when an opportunity arises, don't say, but I've never done this before. It's always something you haven't done before. Don't let they can't do it all by themselves. They can't do it at all. I guarantee you, anybody who's attained greatness has some kind of help. Even Einstein did not know his timetables, okay? He had to keep a copy in his desk. So don't think you have to be perfect to be successful. So to follow your rhythm, you have to really know how to make choices. You have to have courage, and you have to have the energy. And so that's one of life's greatest truths, is that you have to make choices. And a lot of times people don't want to make those choices. But it's up to you. No one else can do it for you. First thing you have to do to follow your own rhythm is make a choice. And everything is a choice. If you go left or right, you could have chose not to be here today. Everything we do in life is a choice. So even not doing something is a choice. So think about that. You are in control of your own life. Make a choice. It doesn't matter if it's not going to turn out perfect, because a lot of things we think are not perfect, you'd be surprised at what good can come from it. But you must be brave enough and have courage enough to make a decision and move with it. Move with it if it's something that's good and it's helpful to people, it's helpful to you, it creates beauty. Do that thing. Okay? Because we need you, Just as much as, you think you need things from the world needs you. And your community needs you. So with your purpose and your energy, I want you to just do the thing, whatever that thing is that's in your heart, that's burning your heart. Follow your own rhythm. And that's what I love about, even though this is a budgeting, just beginning kind of organization, when Carlos, mentioned to me, I said, well, yeah, because that's what we need. We need something that we can encourage each other. Because it's always been my position that we can learn from anybody. It's up to us how we process it. I've never said I can't learn from someone because I know it all because I'm so many years old. Or I have so much education. Because you've walked in paths I have not walked. I can learn from everybody in this room. So don't ever think that you're less than anybody, because you're not. You're just different. We're all human beings. And so yes, I have experience in some things, and you have some experience in things. So let's make each other better. And so that's really another thing I want to tell you about is that all these people, these three people I told you about, the guy who's too young, the woman who started too late, and the woman who started even later still, they're following their own rhythm. And so, what is going to be the song that you're going to play in your life? What is going to be it? One of my favorite songs is, and you guys probably don't know it, maybe Carlos knows it. Ain't No Stopping Us Now.
Girl, I know that song. All right.
And that's some of my anthem, because once you're on it, you're on it. And please keep on doing whatever that thing is that you want to do. Keep doing that thing, because we need you. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions?
I do have one question. You said to be your authentic self. What would you say for the people that do be their authentic self, but it's a little problematic?
I think you have to persist, because you'll find your tribe. If there's something that you need to change about yourself, that's up for you. Like you were saying before, look into yourself and say, okay, you don't want to be phony, but is that something that really needs to change or not? But you don't just change because of just because people don't get your vibe, because sometimes they might need to change. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really look at yourself and say, okay, am I doing something that is causing problems? Or sometimes it's just a lack of communication. And sometimes it's style of communication. I have a good friend of mine, and that's what she deals with. And I really want to take her course, about communication, because a lot of times that's what it is. We break down. And, since we all here are black, I would say that's really the main problem in the black society, is that we all have come with so much different trauma. We think we're okay. But I would say, all the things I'll tell you I do, every room I walk into, almost every room, except for this one, I'm the only one. Or there's only 2 or 3 of me. And so sometimes, especially from the Trump years on, I'm just going to be authentic. I'm going to be real. I have felt, suspicious. Am I among enemies? Or not? But even still, I don't let that overwhelm me. I'm going to be my authentic self. So you can say, when I say people who don't get me for whatever reason, who don't see me as a human being that I am, then that's going to be their problem. It's not going to be my problem. I'm still going to treat everybody right, and I'm going to assume good. I'm going to assume the best about everyone until you prove me different. Okay? Because that's how you have to walk. Because there's always people ready to still, throw spears and stones at you. But at some point, you have to know when to leave. You guys know your Bible. when Saul was, he was playing music, trying to soothe Saul, and he was being his best friend he knew how to be. And Saul was so jealous, he throwing spears at him. He ducked him for a while, but at some point he said, hey, I got to get out of here. So pick your fights. Some places you don't belong. Go make your own space. Okay? So that's what I said.
Okay, I just want to take some short time. I don't know if you still have the film rolling. You could stop it now.